Hi, everyone. It's Nadine Gilkison again. So you are joining me now to learn about EdPuzzle. If you are interested, you can drop in the comments your name and where you're from and what you teach. It's just me for this round. Last round, I had a co-host, so I'll do my best to kind of toggle back and forth and take a look at the comments. Do know that afterwards, if you guys want like a link to some of the resources that I'm going to share out, I will be adding that in the YouTube description. Okay, I am going to jump right in and get going with this. And I am going to start with sharing my screen. And we're going to go out, and I'm going to make it full size so you guys can see it a little bit better. So this is EdPuzzle, if you're not familiar with EdPuzzle. And what it does is it basically takes any video and then you're able to add questions to your video. So what I'm going to walk you through today is kind of the basics of how to get going with using it. And then after that, and along the way, I'll give you some ideas of how you can use it. And then they have an exciting update that's coming up. So I want to make sure that everybody knows about that. So if you do not have an EdPuzzle account, I would suggest that you sign up for one. Those of you that have a Google account, you can actually sign in using your school Google account as an option. So I'm going to toggle over. And I'm actually going to go inside of EdPuzzle. So when I log in, this is what that dashboard is going to look like. So I want to kind of give you an idea of what it is that you're looking at. So over here off to the side, it says content. Now on home, these are actual videos that other teachers have created, and they've already added questions in there. I'm going to click right here where it says my content. And when you make an actual, when you make your first EdPuzzle, this is where it's going to live. Now, I do want to be clear because during COVID-19, they actually do have the option right now that they can help your school. And I'll toggle to that really quick so that I can let you know that typically, EdPuzzle has a free version and a premium version. If your school is affected by COVID-19, then someone can reach out to them. You can just simply fill out this form, and they can make it so that you can create as many videos as needed. Now, I do want to caution with that because that does mean during this time that you get that option. Now, I still use EdPuzzle on the basic account. So when I have the free version, I want to make sure that I let teachers know it's still a good tool. I don't pay the premium typically. I do just use the basic account, and it works just fine for me. What happens is you get allocated that you can make so many videos yourself. And then if you want to earn space, like it's saying here, then if you refer EdPuzzle to somebody else, then they give you more free videos. Here's another tip with that too, to go alongside it. If I go through and I delete some of my videos, then I can go back in and I can create another one, okay? So I wanted to make sure that you understood that. So to give you an idea of what an EdPuzzle does, I want to walk you through one that I actually made for a mini lesson. So what you get to do is you can not only tap into videos from YouTube, but you can also tap into other places. National Geographic actually has a direct link inside of EdPuzzle. So you can tap into any type of National Geographic video and then turn it into an interactive video. So what you're going to see here, so if I start to play the video, it's going to talk about this dog retirement home. And I was actually in a classroom and I was teaching this lesson about how to use EdPuzzle. So I taught the teacher how to set it up. And at the same time, when I was teaching her how to set it up, I wanted the kids to actually do one. So down below here, while the kids are all listening, once they get to this point where you saw that dot, I was focusing on like facts and opinions. So I asked the students, what are 2 facts that you've learned so far? So I wanted to make sure that they knew that they knew what to do. So the kid can actually type directly right in here. When they're done, they can hit submit. If they're not sure, you actually have the option as a teacher if you're going to allow them to skip a question and come back to it. But the cool part that I really like to point out to students is they can go back and they can rewatch. So it allows them to go back and rewatch that segment. And as they're going along, let's say they get to question 2 or question 3, and they say, oh, well, I really do need to know. I don't remember what that possible answer could be. When it has them rewatch, it's not taking them all the way back to the beginning. It's going to take them back to the second stopping point, and they would just watch from the second to the third stopping point. So on here, you're going to notice that I've got some open-ended questions. So again, I'm just doing this as a demo so that you can see what it looks like. Here's another example of an open-ended. And again, the focus of my model lesson was fact and opinion for these students. So I asked them, what was their opinion of Spencer's situation? And when I go back to the rewatch, it's going to take me back there again. Off to the side here, you can see the other choices that I've got. So I'm going to go to this third choice. And again, as the student is going, they're going to get to a multiple choice where they can select. Again, I'm just modeling all of this so that if you've never seen EdPuzzle work, then you have an idea.
That keeps me busy.
And then in a moment, we're going to pick a new one where we're going to edit, and I'm going to show you how to add your own questions. I just wanted you to see what the platform looks like when a student is actually in it. So again, it's going to ask them a multiple choice. And then when we get towards the end here, it's then going to open it up to that open-ended question. So yeah, I've got different options on here for the students to take a look at. On the rewatch, I did want to point out a couple of things. Let's say a student needs it to go full screen. That's what this option is. They can adjust their volume. Notice that it also has closed captioning, which I thought was really cool. So if they need that additional support, that it's in there for them. So now that I've shown you that, I'm going to go back to the content. And now I'm going to pretend like that I want to go ahead and start creating one for myself. So over to the side here, you notice where it says popular channels. So I've got EdPuzzle. That means that these are ones that have already been made by other people. YouTube. Now, the cool part about the YouTube ones is that let's say you go out to YouTube and you've already found a video, you can actually paste in the URL there. Okay? Khan Academy has that connection with EdPuzzle as well. I mentioned National Geographic in here. TED Talks. There's awesome TED Talks that you can use. There's several other examples, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a video. Earlier, I selected one, and it was about kids and why they need to learn about bees. So when I tap on the video, it's just showing up, but you notice that there's no questions here at all, right? So if I want to add questions, I'm going to tap on the button that says edit. So now one of the first things that you get an option of, and it's one reason why educators like to use a platform like EdPuzzle for e-learning, is that there may be times that you want kids to watch a video, but you don't need the entire thing. So one of the awesome things that EdPuzzle has is this built-in, clip for you. So if you want to be able to crop out, hey, no, I don't want the kids to watch 15 minutes of this video. I want them to watch the amount that I need them to. If you wanted to, you could even do your own voiceover over the top of a video. But typically what I like to do is I like to jump to the questions. Okay. Now, on the questions, here's what's going to happen. I've got these options where I can add multiple choice, the open-ended, or maybe it's even just a note. So I think that part is pretty cool. So when I'm ready to add something in there, typically I'm watching the video as I'm going. But if I determine, I just came across something that I want to ask the children about, then I can go ahead and open up that multiple choice question editor. It's real easy to use. Notice that I can even add images, which I think is pretty awesome. You can add in pictures. So even if you have young learners, I want you to realize that EdPuzzle is still a good choice that you can do because the students can select those. They even have, like this one's going to be the correct answer. This one is going to be the incorrect, and so on. Okay. So that's if I wanted to add multiple choice, but let's say that I want open-ended. Again, I get those functions again. I can simply type in what I want. When I tap on save, I wanted you to see what it looks like. See now how we have that little dot there. Okay. So we have some options there. So let's say I want to keep on going.
And put on the bee veil and a bee suit.
So I'm watching the video, analyzing what type of question that I want to ask them next.
Into the hive,
maybe it's not a question. Maybe it's something that I want them to note. So right here where it says add a written comment or an audio note. So on this, notice that I've got my microphone there. So if you're wanting students to make sure that they're paying attention to something, you can drop in that audio note directly into EdPuzzle. And I've seen EdPuzzle used in a lot of different subject areas. Okay, so that's the whole point. Now, if I'm typing this out, you could even do like the double duty where you're typing it here and then you can go ahead and also select the audio file there. All right. On here, ooh, look where they've got their tip. Combine notes, formulas, external links, some photos. There's lots of different ways that you can utilize that point of adding a note there. Okay. So hopefully that gives you guys an idea of what it is that you can ask your students. So let's pretend like that I'm totally done with this one. And when I'm totally done with it, notice it says finish. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now it's telling me that I've got it in here. And here's something good to know. Like, let's say I wanted to work on an EdPuzzle, but I'm not done with it, but something else came up and I want to come back to it. It's easy. Just save your progress and then come back and hit edit when you're ready. Now, when I want to send this out to students, I'm going to tap on assign, and you do need to add a new class. Now, one thing that I'm going to mention to you right off the bat, when you're adding a new class, you've got a couple of options. You can connect it to a Google Classroom if you're using that option. So see right here where it says import class, I can actually add a current Google Classroom in there. The other option too, because in our district, we actually use Canvas and Google Classroom. And so if you're a Canvas user, there is an LTI that will integrate with EdPuzzle. So you can actually have your EdPuzzle inside of your Canvas course, okay? So again, you're gonna need to either create a new class, you're gonna need to import a class. And once you do that, then it's gonna give you the options of assigning it. All right, so I'm just gonna pretend like that I'm putting it out here to the fake news class. I've got my start date. You can add a due date right here. See how I've already got prevent skipping on? And I kind of like that they have that as a default. I can also automatically turn on the closed captioning for all of my students, which I do think is a really awesome tool. Okay. So then the other cool part about that is that once I have assigned it, I can actually analyze in the grade book. I'll put it in here. And again, that mine's empty because I don't have any active classes. But I did want to let you know that inside of that, and I'll stop sharing here for just a moment. I wanted to let you know that you can actually, go into that grade book and you guys can see how long that the student actually spent on the EdPuzzle. So you can get in there and you can actually see, hey, this student spent 1.5 minutes on my EdPuzzle, and no wonder the kid didn't do as well. If the kid missed the questions and you notice that they didn't spend very long, what I like is that you get the analytics that you're probably looking for that are going to be able to add that in there. So I'm noticing on here, I'm going to pop in some comments. So Adrian put on here, can you remove the English option for a world language video? That's a good question. I need to investigate that one. I don't want to tell you one way and then me find out that I'm wrong, but I have a feeling, I know that you can slide it automatically on, but I don't know if because you have it automatically off, if it's just not even going to show up as an option. I know websites have to think of accessibility issues, and so I have a feeling that it's a default that it's on, but now you've got me wondering. So I'll do some investigating with that as well. Oh, and I see some friends in here. Hi, Jolie. All right. I wanted to make sure that I showed you those options. Another thing that I wanted to let you know, it isn't official yet with EdPuzzle, but what's coming out soon, like really, really soon, is that Screencastify that you can use to create your own videos for your classes. It is getting ready to launch an integration with EdPuzzle. And again, the power of that is that you, as the teacher, could create your own video. Then when you put that video from Screencastify into EdPuzzle, now you can have those purposeful pauses in there so that you can have the students have that check for understanding. Okay. Now I wanted to make sure on this, I wanted to show you some other options on this here. All right. So with that grade book, I wanted to just double check. So on your grade book, this is where you guys are going to be able to see on here that students have or have not completed it. I'm going to go back to the content because I want to make sure that you guys understand some of the different options. And I have seen this used in every single grade level. And one thing that I am going to caution you is do not EdPuzzle them to death. I'm actually going to stop sharing for just a moment here. I can honestly say this. My own kids are doing e-learning right now, and one of the things that I know that they've kind of gotten to the point is, oh, well, we have to do like 3 EdPuzzles today. And of course, they're not thrilled about that. So any technology tool that you use too much is not a good thing. So make sure that you're mixing it up. And keep in mind what it is that you're really wanting to get out of the lesson. If it's literally just, well, I'll just give them like 3 or 4 EdPuzzles, cover the skill, tell me what you learned. I just want to make sure that you're conscious of that I love the tool, but use it in combination with other things so that that way the students aren't going to be totally in a burnout. Okay? All right, let me go back to sharing again. And I want to highlight some of those other options here. So as I said, they have those popular channels. Some other ways that I have used it in the classroom. So on my content here, I like to use EdPuzzle inside of a HyperDoc. And again, if you're someone who's interested in using HyperDocs, I have a whole nother video that goes more in depth about that. But I like to mix inside of a HyperDoc. If I want them to watch a video, I like to add in an EdPuzzle as an option. The one right here where it says The Invisible Boy, I went out and I found a book that was read aloud, but then I wanted to make sure that I added in several open-ended questions. Now, what I consider EdPuzzle's editor like is a simplified version of Google Forms. So it will grade it for you as the student is doing a multiple choice, but obviously for the open-ended, that is going to be something that the teacher is going to have to go back and take a look at. Now, I am going to mention something about living in e-learning currently. So I have some fourth grade teachers that are go-getters, and with those teachers, I remember the very first time that we started to roll out e-learning, I had one of them add an option of EdPuzzle on there. But when they put that option on there, we use common e-learning plans in our school district, and we had some confused teachers the very first time, and this was 2 years ago when we started out with it. And I had some teachers that hadn't had any experience with EdPuzzle, and they thought that they would set up their class that day. So if I have anybody that's a tech trainer on here, or maybe you're a teacher and you're like, yes, I am totally doing EdPuzzle now. Keep in mind that if you've never used that tool with your students, you've got to keep in mind like the right timing of when to introduce that. Because if you're getting a great idea out of attending this session today and you're like, this is awesome, and you try to integrate it tomorrow, you got to take baby steps. If you're someone wanting to add this as a layer in your e-learning, I love it, but you've got to get the kids prepared so that they understand what to do. I've had people, like for instance, if you actually find the HyperDoc where I have the Invisible Boy, I made the EdPuzzle, but if someone didn't have an account and they just tapped on it, it would go into it, and the student could spend all of that time recording their answers. And then at the end, it would tell them, oh, by the way, we can't record your answers because this isn't your teacher's. It's some random person named Nadine. So I guess what I'm explaining is that you've got to make sure that you have your steps taken care of. So make sure that you've set up EdPuzzle, set up a class. And again, it does connect with Canvas or Google Classroom. So make sure that you have it set up in both of those fashions. And I would start out with one that's pretty low key so that the students are getting used to the tools. I've heard of some teachers that use it as their check-in. If they need to see how kids are doing, they could watch a little short video about mindfulness or something like that. And then the kid has to type in like, how are you doing at this time? Because a lot of school districts are asking for different means to get their attendance. If you only have a Zoom chat or a Google Meet as the only way to know if they're truly attending, that's not always the best option because a kid might not be able to join. But if you layer in an EdPuzzle inside a Canvas or Google Classroom, that's one that you can get inside of it and you can look at those analytics to get an idea. So as I said, this session right here, it wasn't intended to be like super long. I'm trying to help out folks with using different tools, but not feeling the pressure that you need to be overwhelmed. I I know several of my teachers from my district are in here, and what I would encourage you guys to do is maybe test it out if it's something that you're interested in. Try a few of them for this school year, get comfortable with it so that when we start the school year, next school year, then we're adequately prepared and we already know what to expect. It's not going to be brand new. But I love the fact that you guys are joining in today. So hopefully that will encourage you guys to sign up for your account and to try it out. If you're in my district, we did already fill out the paperwork for EdPuzzle to be at the premium. So you could make as many as what you need to. Now, a hack that I have come up with, because I said I don't use the premium long term, I tend to open up a Google document, and you know how you can go ahead and have your predetermined questions. And I can't remember if it's 9 or 10 that you get to make for free, and then it tries to launch you into the premium. But what I do inside of the Google Doc is I will have a link to the YouTube video, so that way I remember what video it is that I'm using. And then I also can have in here all of the questions that I was wanting to do. And then if I need to remove that EdPuzzle because I'm getting up to my limit and I want to be able to create more free ones, it's okay that I deleted that one because in my Google document, I've already got all of that information, if that makes sense. Am I going to have to recreate it? Yes, but again, I always value free over having to pay for something. And this is kind of my workaround if I'm wanting to make sure that I'm not having to pay for anything. Okay. Amanda Miller has a question. So if I wanted to use this as a listening comprehension for a reading station, I would create a Google Classroom. We could all utilize in the grade level for all of us to use. Now, what I would do, Amanda, with that, if it were me, I would not make one Google Classroom for all of first grade. I would tell each first grade teacher to make a Google Classroom because the data will get skewed, if that makes sense. You would see all of your teachers and all of the students, and you don't want to have to sort through that data. But what you can do is you can show them, it is pretty easy to use EdPuzzle. It's pretty intuitive. And again, if they're struggling with it, you could have them watch this video, how I was just walking through the basic steps of setting it up. But yeah, I think that idea of having it as a listening or comprehension activity, I think that would be great. Okay. Hi, Kara. I'm glad that you're on here too. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. I know I've got about a 10-second delay between me talking and then things appearing in the chat. As I said, this session was really just to get things started with EdPuzzle. And again, that reminder of not EdPuzzling to death, just like Kahoot, quizzes, and all of these other tools, they're great as long as you don't overuse them. So I'm excited if it's my teachers from my district that are on here. Let me know if you guys create an EdPuzzle and let me know how you've decided to integrate it in the classroom. Okay. I am probably going to go ahead and end this broadcast, and then at 1 o'clock, the next one is going to be giving you guys probably like gaming up if you want to level up your e-learning options. So I've got some exciting ones to share on that. And again, reach out to me if you have any questions. And if you're in Franklin Township, don't forget to fill out the form for PGPs. All right. Thanks, everybody.